channel, 90% Native. My name is Michelle and I grow native plants and I garden for the wildlife. Today I am going to be experimenting with a new winter sowing or native plant seed sowing method called the seed snail. This is something that went viral, I believe, about a year ago. For some reason, I didn't see it at the time. I'm just seeing it now. And I saw it and I thought, you want to know what? You can do this and it could be really applicable for some specific types of native plants. I'm thinking things that you want to bulk sow, like grasses and sedges maybe. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. The other thing that I wanted to do with this is to use all recycled materials or things that I already have that I keep reusing in my garden supplies. So first and foremost, you're going to want to get some plastic. You can do plastic or you can do paper. I'm going to do plastic just because I don't have anything to do with some of these old compost bags, and I think this would be a great use to get a second, third, fourth, even fifth use out of it. So I could use this year after year. You can also use paper, but based on the information that I was looking up, the paper can break down, it can get moldy. It might not stay as moist. However, I'm going to experiment today and I'm going to do 2 of my seed snails with just the plastic, and then I'm going to do 2 of my seed snails lined with paper. The reason why I want to try that is because I think that maybe there will be less root disturbance and you could plant the paper just directly into the ground. So we'll see. I just wanted to see what maybe application it would have if I did both the recycled plastic and the recycled paper. I always get paper bags from the grocery store because I use them for my compost. So I have a lot in spare that I can use for this method. After that, you're going to want to have a water bottle. I have a tray with holes in it to put my seed snails in. The holes are so that it doesn't get waterlogged, but like one of the points about using the seed snails is you're going to save space. So you could use, when you need to water, you could bottom water with something that doesn't have holes. Scissors to cut the paper and the plastic. A tape measure because you're going to want your seed snails about 8 inches deep. I think that 8 or more, because one of the reasons you're doing this is so that you get that deep root run for the native plant seeds. Now, something to tie the seed snails up with. This is something that I just happen to have over there in my bins. Ordinarily, I would use twine, but it's in my vegetable garden covered in snow. Or you can use, like I use my daughter's old leotards. I cut them up, she's a dancer, and I use those to tie. I use my husband's old cotton shirts to tie up. So those are some recycled things that you could use for ties. I have a Mark-a-Lot so that I can remember what I planted. And then next to me, I have some soil. The soil I'm using is not anything special. All it is a local compost and coconut coir and I don't know, maybe some, I think maybe I threw like old potting mix in there from 5 and 10 gallon grow bags. I'm not 100%, but it's just not anything special. Okay, so why am I trying the seed snail method? Number one, I am looking at propagation in a lot of different ways this year. So that's number one. Number two, I cannot help myself to try something new like this. So yeah. Number three, I think that it is really applicable to some native plants, especially things like grasses, sedges, things that you want to bulk sow. You'll save space, you'll save soil, and you can use all recycled materials. And because they're seed snails, they're deep, and you know that native plants are probably going to stay in their initial containers for a lot longer than maybe your like vegetable or flower annuals. So yeah, that's why I want to try this. Those are the many reasons I chose to try this method. I think that's it. Okay, so let's get at it. Here I am with my nasty dirty compost bag. What I'm doing here is just getting it into a workable shape, and ultimately get it into 8-inch deep strips that are about 18 inches to 2 feet long. I'm also doing just a little repair on part of it as well. Next up, I am going to start by sowing some purple love grass seeds. So I get my soil and just scoop out enough that I can cover that entire section of a plastic strip with soil. It's probably maybe like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep. I didn't really take a measurement, so I'm guessing. But then just make sure that I get the soil all nice and damp. We're going to go ahead and lock in that moisture. Now, please take a note here where there is a few inches of bare plastic where I start to roll, and there's going to be probably more than a few inches where I end the roll. This is going to help you keep the dirt organized and give you some wiggle room to keep this all nice and tidy. I noticed that some of the soil was falling out the bottom, so I just gave that some more water so that I could pack it in. And then I'm just cutting strips of this plastic where ordinarily I would like to use some recycled materials. Like I said, my daughters used ballet tights, something like that, to do these ties because I want to really make this a very eco-friendly project for myself. I did 2 ties on this one. Another seed snail, I did 3 ties, so just play around with it. I did notice that on the internet, some people would use tape, and I found that everything was really, really wet and that actually tape wasn't sticking for me. So here I am planting purple love grass. Purple love grass is a very, very small seed. So what I noticed here is I need to let the light in so that the seed will germinate. So I filled up that seed snail to the very top, give it a little water, and then I am going to sow those seeds. I'm going to pack them in because I really want to experiment with this as far as native grasses and sedges go. In the end, I will tell you, I did put a tiny layer of coarse vermiculite over the top. I don't show it in the video, but that is just so the seeds don't fly away. If it gets dry or falls over or something like that, the light will still get through with a little bit of coarse vermiculite over the top. If this works as well as I am hoping, then you'll see here how much space that I could possibly save, where one of those seed snails could have been a 32 or a 50 count deep cell flat. Something else that I want you guys to remember is that this is the first time I have ever done this. So this is an experiment, and I'm going to rely on you to keep me honest and remind me to give you updates on this experiment. Okay guys, I just wanted to pop in here really quick. If this is content that you like or appreciate, I would love it if you would take a moment and subscribe, like, and share with any of your friends and family that enjoy gardening as much as you and I do. In this example, I am using the paper to line the seed snail. You'll notice that I did actually mess up, and I don't know what happened here. The intent was to line the seed snail with the paper and just use the plastic to wrap around it. But anyway, I got my paper bags to size, rolled them up, and then let them soak a little bit in some hot water because it was literally freezing in my garage. Next up, I am prepping the plastic bags exactly like I did in the previous 2 examples. This is where I messed up. I am putting the soaked paper bags over top of the plastic. The plastic bag shouldn't even be involved at this point because it is going to wrap around what I wanted it to do is wrap around the finished paper seed snail to see if that could keep in the moisture, because others have said that the paper seed snails tend to dry out and have a little bit less of germination success. This seed snail here is going to be sowed with side oats grandma. Just a note that I have found with a lot of the grasses that I grow from seed is it takes forever for them to mature. I've grown, prairie drop seed, purple love grass, little blue stem, side oats grandma. They all take forever to mature. And here you have it. Here are my finished seed snails. I'm really excited to see how this experiment turns out. Another winter sowing application that I could see doing this with is to take a big plastic bin, put holes in the top, holes in the bottom, so kind of recreating the milk jug, a greenhouse effect, and then sticking those in the tub. And that would be for your annuals or vegetables or things like that. But anyway, just an idea I had. Okay, guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for taking your important time and spending it with me today. Happy gardening, and I will catch you again next time.